On my previous video, I reviewed the VILTROX 33mm f1.4 and it was one of the best lenses I ever tested on the Sony APS-C system. Now let's see how the 23mm stacks up. First, let's do a quick unboxing. Inside the box, we have a warranty card. We also have instruction manual, a quality control card, and a very nice carrying bag. Also, we have the lens that comes wrapped in this plastic bag to avoid dust and moist. As soon as you hold this lens in your hand, you can immediately notice that it's very high quality, feels small and light. And here, when we look at the front element, we can see that it takes 52mm filters. On the back, we can see a metal mount, connections, and a USB port for future upgrades. The aperture ring turns smoothly, but with a nice amount of resistance, same as the fly-by-wire focus. I already mounted the VILTROX 23mm f1.4 on my Sony zv-e10 and I get pretty good balance. It's a small camera with a relatively small lightweight lens. By the way, if you want to watch a review on the Sony zv-e10, you can click right there, go watch it now. I'm also gonna be comparing this lens a lot to the previous lens review I made, which is the VILTROX 33mm f1.4. They're just very similar lenses, just different focal range and a slightly different price. So if you want to watch that review, yet again, click on the corner of this video, you can go watch it now. This particular lens is Sony E-mount, but it also comes available in Fuji X, Canon EOS M, so basically mirrorless cameras with an APS-C sensor size. Now let's take a look at the image quality. When it comes to sharpness, this lens is razor sharp at the center, even wide open. It just has the very edge of the corners that we see a bit of a decrease on sharpness. So it performs very similar to the lens I have previously reviewed from VILTROX, which is the 33mm. As you stop it down, you see very little increments on sharpness. That's because it's very sharp to begin with. And somewhere around f2, f2.8, you get so much detail all across the frame. You can focus as close as 30 centimeters, which is somewhere about average for this focal range. The close-up image quality is good from f2, f2.8, so I recommend that you stop it down a little bit. At f1.4 is a bit soft, so just stop it down and you're gonna get top-notch quality. At f1.4 it's very common to get some vignetting, so that's to be expected, and as you stop it down, the vignetting kind of tends to go away, so it performs decently good for this focal range and for being such a fast lens. Chromatic aberration, it's a little bit worse than the VILTROX 33mm I previously reviewed, but it only shows on very high contrast images. So it's not something that I'll be very worried about. It only shows on green color patterns and it's very easy to correct on Lightroom. I took all the image samples you see here with the included lens hood. I haven't seen any lens flare, so there isn't much that I can say about that other than it performs really good. The coating is very good and you don't really get to see much lens flare with this lens. The bokeh is maybe about the best about these new VILTROX lenses. It's just so good. It's just creamy goodness. At f1.4 you get pretty good shallow depth of field and it renders details so well. Even on some complex background, it's still very smooth and it is something that is very reliable. No matter what you shoot, you're always getting really good bokeh rendition. When it comes to autofocus, we have good news, bad news. With the previous lens I reviewed from VILTROX, the 33mm, we didn't got eye autofocus. Maybe that's because I have a new camera now, the Sony zv-e10, but now we don't only have eye autofocus, it's also very fast, same as the 33mm. The bad news is that in some high contrast situations, this lens struggles just a little bit to focus. It's just like about a millisecond delay, but I can notice it. With native Sony lenses, that doesn't happen. It didn't happen also with the 33mm. So that's the only con that I can see on the autofocus when it comes to this lens. But we have great news when it comes to video. The autofocus is super fast and silent. Let's give it a try. I am now recording on the Sony zv-e10 with the VILTROX 23mm f1.4 and I'm shooting wide open here. And you can see how the image quality is pretty good. This is 4K 24 frames per second. Before I was using the Canon EOS R6 right here. And you can see how the autofocus is so fast. I have product showcasing on, which means every time I bring something in front of me, it's gonna focus on that. So look at this, I bring it down, focus on me. And when I bring it up, and by the way, I have set the focus speed on this camera to medium. I have 7 levels, I have set it to 4 because it was just too fast. And the lens is really working on the same level as the camera. I mean, it doesn't slow down at all. And it does that completely silent. So in conclusion, this lens is pretty good for pictures, it's pretty good for video, and it have an amazing build quality, same as the 33mm. They're just really good lenses and what I would consider professional lenses. That being said, there are links in the description down below. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you have, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I'll catch you up on the next video.